unmute yourself and try to let me know. And without further delay, tonight's topic I think is very important, and I think a lot of people around us now also very concerned in terms of airway health. That is also the reason why I plan to share this topic, because it's important to know about airway health, not only because of the current pandemic, but actually before pandemic and also in the future, we can foresee we'll have a lot of crises as well in terms of our airway health. Okay, so when we talk about our airway health, right, I can recall few things. If let's say today I totally don't know anything about airway health, the moment I look at the wording airway, right, the first thing that come into my mind is last time I used to join this first aider team back in secondary school. So the St. John team. So what we being trained and we being taught is on airway is whenever there's an accident and the people collapse or unconscious, right? Airway is one of the procedure inside the diagnose that we should check. Okay, because it's very dangerous the moment a person collapse or unconscious, right? We need to check the response, all that, and then airway is one of the important things that we'll check as well, whether their airway is being blocked throughout that in that situation. Because if let's say the airway is blocked, it will actually take the life of that person very fast. Okay, I will also touch on that, why it will be that fast to take the life of a person if let's say our oxygen supply stop for a certain time period of time. Okay, so that is the first thing that will come into my mind. And then second thing when I think about airway is about CPR. Okay, the chest compression resuscitation. Okay, so CPR is something for us to also revive back the heart rate, and at the same time also to revive back the breathing of that person. So these are the things that I can relate with. And then if today, if you ask me airway, I have a broader understanding on this topic because of also the learning that we have in this business about nutrition, about home technology, all that, which I will also touch on that later. So of course, for all of us here, we are an empty glass today. So let us drill into this topic together. What is this airway health about? And I think to start it off more interestingly, I will share about things that which is in trend currently. So I'm not sure whether you saw this about this oximeter thing. Okay, how many of you got this oximeter now at home? Okay, probably you can type in the chat 111 if you have it at home. If you don't know what is this thing, then just type 222 in the chat box. Okay, so for people who has this at home, right, I think for a few reasons. Okay, first is probably trending. Okay, they see people have it and they also feel it's important, and then they go and get it also. Second reason, probably they really know the importance of this oximeter during current period of time where our situation in Malaysia is not getting better. It's getting better in terms of the ICU beds, all that. I heard that the statistic is dropped, but in terms of the case is still increasing, and we also don't know how full picture is it in terms of the Delta cases. Okay, so today I will share about this oximeter is because it's relating to our airway health also. Okay, so when we talk about oximeters, right, is important to have at home nowadays. I would say every household is recommended to have this thing because it actually estimates the oxygen level in our blood. And this is important because sometimes when we are contracted with the COVID virus, right, we don't have the symptoms. And then we possibly start to develop the other symptoms, which is not obvious. Okay, but then at the same time, our airway health is being compromised as well. So how to first know whether it's compromised? This is a gadget that actually will help us to do that estimation. Okay, so that's the reason why I highlight the wording estimate, because it's not 100% accurate, but it gives a good feeling and a good reference for us to know whether we are having trouble in terms of our oxygen level. Okay, but the important things that I want to share in this session, like I said, right, The purpose of attending this kind of session, of course, we want to learn something more other than just having this thing and then just follow everyone having it, but we don't know the concept behind it at all. Okay, so tonight I just share a rough concept. How this thing actually works is basically using the concept of two light. So if you have this thing at home, right? Okay, I have one at home also. So you can actually put in your finger, and then the technology being used is actually it will emit these two light, infrared light and also red light. Okay, so when you pass through your fingers, right, you can see our fingers is like not very thick. So that is the reason why there will be a upper part sensor and a lower part sensor. So this is how it actually detect how much infrared has been absorbed by the oxygen. If let's say end of the day, when they emit the lights, right, and then the other parts of the sensor detect that they have a lot of infrared light, okay, that means our oxygen level has dropped a lot in our blood. But in the end of the day, if let's say we have a majority of the red light at the ending point of the detector, right, that means our body oxygen level is okay because majority of the infrared light has been absorbed throughout the emit process. Okay, but however, there's one thing that we need to know. Why it says estimate is because there's a lot of other factors which also will affect the reading of this oximeter. One is because of our blood circulation. So certain people, even though they are not contracted with COVID or anything, but they originally already have a bad blood circulation. Could be due to obesity, could be due to cholesterol, could be due to high fat, all that. Okay, so if let's say that particular person already have this blood circulation issue, and fingers is always the hardest part to reach because it will become a very tiny capillary. So people who has the blood circulation issue, right, normally all this part with the very tiny capillaries, it will detect the circulation is bad. So eventually it will shows that the oxygen level is low, and then you might get shocked when you see that kind of reading and then you thought you are having the virus. It could be due to the virus or it could be due to this blood circulation issue. Second is because of the skin pigmentation. So in Asia, especially, we have even in Western, okay, we have a lot of different skin type people. Okay, some people with the darker skin, some people with the fairer skin. So this detector thing, right? Once we understand the concept, is based on the light. Okay, so if for people who has a higher pigmentation, right, the light absorption will not be accurate already because most of even the red light will be blocked, okay, through the skin pigmentation. And then the skin thickness will also affect a normal person by right. The fingers should be okay lah. I mean the skin will not be that thick, but we also have people who have a quite thick skin at the finger area. Okay, so that will also affect the reading because of the light emission will be affected. Okay, and then skin temperature and so on. Okay, so if we understand the concept and the technology of this, right, and importance of it, right, and the function, most importantly, is when we see the reading on this device, right, we need to know this percentage represent the estimation of oxygen level in our body. So whenever it's dropped below 95, or even if let's say it dropped below 92, right, we need to start to be aware and alert. Okay, because a normal person, it should be at the range between 95 to 100, okay, 96 onwards. Okay, so the other reading that this device normally give in the market is the heart rate. Okay, the other one is heart rate, so you can monitor your heart rate as well. But for this virus purpose, normally people see the oxygen level because that's the first thing that it will affect, because when the moment it attacks our lungs, right, it will start to create fibrosis process in the lung. So there will be less and less alveoli that actually will help transfer the oxygen in our body. So eventually the oxygen level in our body will drop. You might not experience suffocation or anything yet, but that's the first sign that you will see in your bloodstream. Okay, and then second thing, another reason that will affect the readings, which I didn't put here, is the gadget itself. Okay, because now this is a business market. So in the market, you go to the Shopee, Lazada, you buy this thing, right? what got certain is like less than 100 ringgit, certain is like more than 100 ringgit. So is you have to study carefully lah, what kind of technology that they are using, or it's just a tipu one, okay? Because there is also device in the market that cannot detect accurately. Okay, so that means when it cannot detect accurately, you can actually just put anything inside the device, right? You put a pen inside, you also give you one reading. That means that one cannot pakai. Okay, because it's not supposed to do so. Okay, so if it's still giving you a reading, even you put a pen inside the device instead of the finger, that means it's just giving you a random number. Okay. So second thing which is trending, okay, also relating to health, airway health, is oxygen tank. Okay, so how many of you got oxygen tank at home now? Okay, you can type 111 if you have oxygen tank at home. You can type 222 if you don't have. Okay, I also not sure whether will anyone have it or not lah. But if you go to Shopee or Lazada, those that selling the portable one, like the one in the smaller picture bottom there I put, most of it like out of stock. Okay, so everyone also like buying this thing to back up at home in case any emergency, especially earlier stage when all the hospital is out of ICU bed. Okay, all the oxygen tank has been utilized. So whenever there's a new chronic patient go in, doctor have to make a decision. Doctor have to make a decision whether to save which person, because all these things is so limited resources. So when it's limited resources, everyone start to worry, because if let's say a family member of you touch wood, got contracted the virus and then got the suffocation, and then hospital is full. Okay, that's the reason why all these things is selling like hot cakes in the market. But in this session, we need to learn also lah. Okay, we learn the knowledge about this thing. There are many sizes available in the market lah. So we as a consumer, we need to know, we need to check ourselves lah. We do the due diligence and we check which one is a proper one. Okay, but most of the time I will tell you we are not sure about the source. We're not sure whether it's the purity of it. Okay, when it's labeled as oxygen, but how many % of oxygen is inside? Okay, of course they can tell you how many ml this bottle, but is it 100% of the ml is also oxygen? Okay, we've got no clue. Okay, and then the content of it, is it got other things? Is it really produced in the pharmaceutical and also in the lab environment, or just some SME that they do themselves? Okay, so that will also lead to the final question on in terms of the safety. Okay, and how long one oxygen tank can last? If today we back out this thing at home, right, do we have an idea how long this thing can last? Okay, especially the normal one, like this one, the one that we buy smaller tank, because on the left hand side, this big tank, I don't think any household will prepare this kind of tank at home, because if you check online, this kind the big tank one is normally for hospital and medical use, and it's very pricey. Okay, so the one that normally household they buy like crazy to prepare at home is the one that show on the right hand side. So this one normally it comes in the 500 ml, it comes in 1 liter capacity lah. Okay, so to just give us an idea how, if today at your house you've got a dozen or what, you can multiply yourself. As long as you know the concept, actually every minute, right, we need about 5 to 6 ml of oxygen. Okay, so if let's say today we buy this one small tank, 1 liter one, that means it can, by right, it can last us 4 days. But there is a but. The but is provided the output can be controlled. Okay, so when we say the output can be controlled, that means you can adjust the output to like 5 to 6 ml only every minute. That is what they did for the hospital and the medical center one. So if you notice in the hospital and medical center, they have the tank. It's not like straight away they spray to your mouth, right? They have a device to regulate the oxygen tank, and then they can program it how many milliliter of oxygen will be output, okay, for every second. That's why there will be no wastage, okay, and then it will be very efficient. But the one that we buy for household, right, from this look, right, do you think there's a regulator there? No, right? It's like you use your hand manually press and then release that whatever percentage of oxygen that you have in that capacity. Okay, so do you think you can control your energy to press just 5 to 6 ml per minute? I would say is illogical and it's almost impossible. So the moment a normal pressure that we press, probably one press is already like 100, 200 ml gone already. Okay, so even if you have a 1 liter, this kind of oxygen tank, probably in 10 press, 10 to 15 press, finish already. Okay, so how many you need if let's say you have a chronic patient at home, and will this really help? So don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to tell you guys that, oh, don't get all these things. You can get it, but to me, I think knowledge is important. So today, if let's say we had this session, we know about this already. So if let's say you are using it in the case of emergency, try to control the pressure, not to simply press, because gas is very lightweight. So gas can easily come out with just a very soft press. Okay, so if you want to last longer, we have to control the press. And if we know how much oxygen that we need actually per minute, right? Even if you are suffocating, okay, probably you need more than normal breathing. So we actually press more, but not too much, okay, to avoid wastage. Okay, so what is the two things that I share with you all that which is trending, right? Do you think it's a cure for the current situation? It's not a cure, right? Okay, the first device that I tell you, probably it plays a big role in terms of monitoring. Okay, it's not a cure. And this second device, oxygen tank, is more for emergency. It's also not the cure. Okay, so if let's say the next question I will ask, what is the holistic preventive way in terms of our airway health? Okay, so actually there are monitoring step, there are preventive step, and there's also a step for emergency. So just now we only touched about the monitoring and also the emergency part. Okay, but to me, I always think that preventive is more important than cure. Okay, so in terms of preventive, there are actually these 4 big segments that we have to look into. First, of course, we must follow strictly the SOP. Okay, so by following the SOP and the official guideline given by the government and also the FDA, okay, is basically masking, social distancing, contactless, try to practice contactless even for delivery, all that, and sanitization. Okay, so these are the things that we can do in terms of SOP. Try not to happily dine in or happily cross state yet. I really don't encourage that. And then secondly is another things that we can do in terms of preventive is our immune system. Okay, so how to actually improve the immune system is not through drugs. It's through healthy lifestyle and through our diet, day-to-day diet, through nutrition supplementation, and also vaccination. Okay, so vaccination is not part of course, it's in the country SOP, but in most of the country around the world, it's voluntarily basis. So it's not that they can force you to go for vaccination. And even if we go for vaccination, it's not because we follow the SOP. We need to be clear. It's because we want to strengthen our immune system. Vaccination is like a rehearsal for our body to counter this kind of virus whenever we meet with the actual one, with the real one. Okay, so it's actually fall under this category, like if you ask me. It's part of building immune system also. Okay, and then the third part in terms of preventive is airway health. Okay, airway health is very closely related with immune system because it's less discussed in the market because not much people have any idea what to do with airway or that. They always talk about immune system. Okay, so today we're going to talk more on airway health. Okay, so how actually airway health, we can help our airway health. Why I say it's closely related with immune system, as you can see, I put here the things that we can do is very similar, which is exercise, diet, and also nutrition supplementation. But the difference is whether we have something very specific to our airway health. That's the question of tonight. Okay, and then when we talk about preventive, there's also one thing that people always neglect and people always underrate it, which is extra protection. Okay, you might say that, oh, this fall under SOP lah. No, it's not fall under SOP because it's not stated in our country SOP, but it's always recommended in news, okay, and also in a lot of research in US. This extra protect, that means we need to have a good air filter in every household, okay. HEPA filtration, at least up to the size of the virus, which is actually 0.06 micron to 0.1 micron, okay. So I also touched a little bit on that, why it's important to have this extra protection. But only after we understand how our airway system works, then you will know it's important. Okay, so now let us go into our airway health. So this is like a revision for our biology class. Okay, so but then I will not go into too detail, just enough for us to know the importance of airway health. So on the left hand side, you can see that's the basic airway system. Every human being should have the same thing. Okay, just that the size could be different. The condition could be different also, depending on your lifestyle, depending on your habits. Okay, but important things is on the right hand side, 11,000 liters of air we intake every day. Okay, out of this 11,000 of liters, right, we only need 21% in that air. Okay, every breath that we take in, right, the composition of the air average is 21% is made out of oxygen. So we need this 21%. But our airway system is not intelligent that it can only take 21%. You have to take in everything, and then when it go into our body, go into our lung, then that it will segregate there. Okay, the oxygen will actually go into our bloodstream, and then the carbon dioxide will come up. So here also mentioned at the same time, this process actually output the carbon dioxide from our body also. Okay. And these air supplies go into our body through a carrier. Okay, it's not like you go into the lungs and then end of story. Okay, the oxygen reach every part of our body through blood. Okay, so how you actually the transmission from air into bloodstream, right, is through our alveoli lah. Okay, alveoli. So on the left hand side, you can see this alveoli is like a bubble thing in our lungs. So it's from our bronchioles. So our bronchioles will end with this like a lot of cherry. Okay, all this cherry thing is alveoli. So this alveoli is a very thin layer of membranes whereby it allows the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen into our bloodstream. So this process might look simple, but it's the most important process, one of the most important process in our body. Okay. So is it that's all in terms of our airway system? No. Okay, I actually wish to share with you guys some of the very important thing also through our airway system, because when we talk about airway system, right, it starts the moment when the air go into our nose. It's already in our airway system up to the moment it goes to the alveoli that we mentioned just now, which is in the lungs. That is the ending point. But in between this journey, right, there is still a lot of things which belongs to the airway system that we should know also lah. At least something we can learn tonight. First is the nasal membrane. Okay, so nasal membrane is a very beginnings journey of the air when it go into our airway system. So is it important? It's important because a lot of time when we encounter symptoms in our bodies, right? For example, you have a running nose, you always have flu, all that. It's all because of the changes that happening in this nasal membrane. Okay, so you can see here it mentions a cold virus can trigger the body to release a type of histamine. So this histamine is a kind of chemical that actually inflames our nasal membrane. So whenever our body being inflamed, right, you will actually produce a liquid or mucus. So in this nasal membrane, especially, you will actually produce nasal mucus and also snot. So that is the reason why a lot of people will have this running nose in the morning. Those people have allergies they easily have running nose. Okay, even when we are crying, right? Okay, the inflammation of the eye area and also some of the tears, it can actually connect to our nose and nasal area, and then that's the reason why you also sometimes have a running nose when you're crying. Okay, so similarly, if let's say we have the infection, sometimes we have allergies or irritants that actually go into when we breathing, right? And a lot of time you won't know whether the allergen is going in your airway system because those allergens are very small. Okay, so when it go into our body know. Okay, we won't know, but our body receptor will know. So when it triggers the same reaction, okay, we'll have this thing again. You have mucus, you have snot coming out. Okay, so you will ask next, why will have this kind of reaction? Actually, this reaction, right, is part of our body mechanism to protect us. Okay, the moment they detect got all these allergen or bacteria or virus coming into our bodies, right, they'll actually emit this mucus to give a layer of liquid protection. Okay, so whenever there's a mucus, right, normally mucus is quite thick, so you actually become a layer of protection to prevent further intrusion of all these allergies, infection, irritants. Okay, but however, this reaction, right, it creates a very uncomfortable to us. So we thought that, flu, running nose is actually a sickness, a illness, but actually it's a symptoms. Okay, and it's a reaction from our body to protect us. Okay, but unfortunately, this mechanism is very uncomfortable, especially for people who always had it for a long time, and they don't find a cure or a solution for that, which I'll also touch in the later slide, whether there's a solution for that. Okay, so the second part of our airways, right, when we breathe in this nasal cavity, this space we call nasal cavity. So in this nasal cavity, there's also one function which is very important, especially during the durian season. Okay, whenever you pass by or you walk past a durian store, why you will smell it? Okay, it's because all these particles from the odor, right, when it enter into our nasal cavity, we will have this smell sensory. Okay, and it work closely with our neural system, and all this sensor, right, is on top the ceiling part of our nasal cavity. Okay, and it will largely affect okay, especially whenever we sick. If you recall back the last time you have flu or you have cold, okay, it will actually affect your smell sensory. Okay, and I would like to point out here also, especially current time, whenever you have this sensory being impaired, you will be worried that you have this COVID virus, right? So it's true. This is one of the symptoms which is very common for COVID patients. They will lose their taste, they will lose their smell. But at least tonight, now we know how it actually impact us, right? Is that the virus go into our airway system. Okay, what we know is always the virus attack our lung, but actually it attack here as well. In the nasal cavities, right? Actually, there's a recent research saying that the COVID virus can actually last in this space for a very long time. Okay, so whenever they are in this space, right, virus is something that won't stay, just won't stay there. You will catch out your system. So you will go and impact your this sensory system. So you will lose your smell. Okay. And third is the junction. Okay, so when we pass through the nasal cavity, the next thing that we'll go into is what I call the junction. Okay, it's not a scientific name, I give it the name myself. So this junction actually separate between the trachea and also our esophagus. Okay, last time when I was small, right, I always wonder, okay, when we eat, how come our food will not go into our lung? And when we're breathing, right, how come the air will not go into our stomach? Okay, because it's the same throat that we put in these two things, right? So after the biology class, then we get to know better because it's two separate pipe. Okay, one pipe is called trachea, one pipe is called esophagus. So trachea is the one in charge of our air pipe, we call it. And esophagus is basically the one that leads all the food into our stomach. And the next question that we will always have is that, will it mess up? Like sometimes your food accidentally drop into your lungs. Okay, it will not okay, because our human body is being designed so wonderfully. Okay, there is actually a gut okay, that gut is a lid called epiglottis. So this epiglottis, you can see in the picture there, it's like a valve. It's a valve that will react very fast. Okay, so whenever there's a food, it will actually close it. Okay, only it will open up if, let's say, it's a breathing process, it's a breathing mechanism, then it allows the air to go into the trachea. Okay, so people, next question, when we know about all these three parts, right, is things that we often encounter is also sore throat. So sometimes we sore throat is you also might wonder where the sore throat thing happens. Okay, so the inflammation actually happen at the glands and also the tonsil area. And glands and tonsil area is the area right after our nasal cavity. Okay, so it's after the nasal cavity area. That's the part that actually, when there's inflammation, too heaty, you eat too many barbecue or eat too many heaty stuff, and then when there's inflammation there, you have this sore throat. Okay, so why I cover all this is because, to me, I want to give a better picture in terms of airway health. Airway health is not only about lungs, okay, and this process in between, the things that between this journey is very important as well. Okay, so next why at the beginning of my sharing I said it's not only for COVID. Okay, it's important when we look from the history. Okay, and why I'm sure in the future we might have something even more damaging. Okay, because everything also we can study from history lah. Okay, we can study economic from history perspective. We can study biology development in history perspective. We can also study how industry developed from history perspective. Same goes to if we want to study flu history, and even when we more particularly we talk about this airway virus thing. Okay, so if we look at this history chart, right, you can see in 1976, there's a disease actually also targeting the respiratory system one, which is what we call Legionnaire disease. Okay, so this Legionnaire disease is also quite famous. Even nowadays, if you ask people, people will also know about it, because when it struck in 1976, it actually impact a lot of people. So it takes quite a long time for the next one that actually related to respiratory, which is 2003, okay, the outbreak of SARS. Okay, so this SARS thing is also attacking our respiratory, relating to our airway, all that. And then very fast, another 6 years, come up with this influenza H1N1. And then we also have subsequently in 2019, the COVID lah. Okay, I just mentioned a few very significant one. Okay, so from the history, right, you can see is happening all this while, and then the gap between the happenings become smaller and smaller. Okay, so I'm not a fortune teller, but through the history, we can always know that you will come again. Okay, and you will come stronger and more damaging to humankind, okay, to mankind. So our respiratory system always appear as the target in the history development of all this outbreak, especially those that actually become a pandemic or become an epidemic, always relating to respiratory. Okay, and in the past, it cannot transmit that fast is because of the non-existence of technology and also the logistic and globalization nowadays. So with all this globalization and people moving around, it will definitely become more vulnerable in the future. Okay, so our transport system will not stop forever. Definitely it will come to a day where it kick up back. So when it kick up back, is it how many years more another one will strike? We don't know. But for sure, through history, we know there will be something else coming. Okay, so from a trend, it will only become more frequent and serious in the future. So this is not to freak out everyone, but just to give everyone the awareness that we will feel relief if COVID get controlled, or even if we achieve herd immunity globally or whatsoever, but be prepared for the next one. Okay, so how human being at risk in terms of breathing. Okay, so now we talk about something more relaxed. Okay, don't too stress on all this virus or thing, but just be prepared that it will be that trend. Okay, so if it will be that trend, what are the things that we can do? Preventive thing that I mentioned just now. Okay, very important. So when humans are at risk at the breathing, the best things that I can the best example that I can give is imagine today you don't know how to swim and you drop into the water. Okay, how long do you think you will last? Okay, not long. Okay, especially if you accidentally drank the water a lot, then immediately you get into the suffocated situation, the condition very fast. Okay, so even for people who know how to swim, sometimes they encounter cramp or they encounter injury while they're swimming. They might also die of drowning. So if you imagine that, like, the longest instant of an average person can hold the breathing longest 11 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay, but not everyone can reach this longest period of time. A common person normally can safely hold the breath. If now I say, okay, we do one exercise, everyone hold your breath. Okay, if you can last 1 to 2 minutes, okay, fine, your lung capacity is okay. But actually earlier there's one article come out from the ministry also. There's easy check lah. Other before they are trending on this oximeter thing, another way to check is actually to hold your breath. If you can hold your breath for 15 seconds without feeling difficult, right, then it's okay, good. Okay, so you can do this exercise now also to see whether you have difficulty in breathing, whether you have the early sign or suspicious sign of COVID contraction. Okay, so if not, then good. Okay, so the amount of time we can comfortably and safely hold our breath, right, also depend on every individual. That's why here we are talking about by average. Okay, so if you feel but at least if you feel difficult even for 15 seconds, then we have to be very careful. Okay, so these are the things when we talk about the virus, right? Why I want to touch about suffocation is that this virus is as scary as like you drop into the water and you suffocated. Okay, because how the virus attack us is like the intrude of this virus, it actually cause inflammation happening at this bronchial and also the alveoli levels. Okay, it happened at such a very tiny parts of our body. So imagine all this area when it's inflamed. Just now we learned about the inflammation will cause the mucus emission, all that, right? So when all this place is being flooded with all this mucus, and also sometimes it will, when the inflammation get worse, right, it will actually have bleeding. So the mix of blood and also the mucus, and then at first it's probably just the virus, and then whenever there's an injury, there's a mucus, it will actually clog up with bacteria also, especially if we are living in an environment full with the dirt, full with normal what we call that allergen and other irritants in our living environment. So this will only get things worse. Okay, so when all this mucus full with all these bacteria and also the virus keep continuous spreading, right, it's just like you are dropping into a swimming pool, just that this suffocation happen at the slower rate, but it's as scary as that. Okay, it's like suffocate your entire airway system in this level. Okay, you won't feel liquid like covering your nose or covering your mouth, but it's like inside. Okay, it happening inside your lung. Okay, so it's like also like no matter how much you try to breathe in, the exchange just don't happen in the alveoli anymore. So when it take very long time not happening, the oxygen didn't reach there for a long period, for a certain period of time, and then this entire bronchial and also the alveoli will become impaired. And then when it's impaired and is inflamed and is injured in a period of time, it will become fibrosis. So when you say fibrosis, the entire tissue there, it become hardened. Okay, so there's also a reason why when you see a lot of people share in the social media, they share their friend or some doctors actually share their patient. Okay, the X-ray of their lungs is very highly impacted. Okay, you see a lot of impact lung. Okay, and then it take very long time to recover. Okay, so this fibrosis is very hard to reverse. It really take very long time for you to actually reset back the tissue to rebuild back that capacity. So really have to treat this seriously. So if you know the seriousness of this and also the importance of our airway health, right? So just now in that preventive, if you remember, there's two parts. One is about the airway health, whether we can have something which is targeted for our airway health. Because when we talk about immune system, there's a lot of things that we can do. We intake vitamin C, we intake high antioxidant thing, we intake vitamin E also for immune system as well. So, but for airway health, is there any product in the market that actually can help this thing? Okay, so there's one in Neutralite, which is actually this Neutralite Botanical Beverage mix Acerola, Licorice, and Turmeric. Okay, so this is specially designed for airway health. Okay, it's not something that already existingly we have this product, and then when this outbreak comes, then we say, oh, this product can match this. No, okay, it's like Neutralite research team specially go and research one product which is important for airway health. So all the ingredient that they use, right, will make sense and is really relatable to airway health one. It's not like chincai put in, okay? So I'll just go through a overview of this product because the detail of it you can find in the official website. But subsequently, I think it's more important for me to share what is the logic behind the ingredient they use inside. Okay, this slide will just show the overview. So first thing we need to know is 100% organic. 100% organic, all the ingredient, these three main ingredients being used is organic source. Okay, so that's first thing. Second, what are the three ingredients that they use in this product? First, turmeric is an active ingredient. Okay, we basically extract the curcumin inside the turmeric. Okay, because it's believed can be treat the symptom of flu effectively. Okay, and it has been used in the past in the traditional medication, or that I'll explain in the next slide. So licorice is actually an active compound also. Inside got this glycine. Glycine is actually an active compound that will help to relieve flu. Okay, and also protect mucous membranes of upper respiratory tract. So when we talk about this mucous membrane, you now at least all of us we have an idea where is this part and why is the when it's inflamed, what will happen. Okay, so this licorice with this compound, it actually help to balance the mucus and moist. Okay, why not get rid of it? Why balance? Because now we know mucus is actually to protect us, but when it's too much, it poses different threats to our body, right? So we need to strike a balance, and actually this ingredient help to achieve that balance. And then it's also very effective in terms of throat remedy. Is also for our digestive system. It's good for our digestive system. Okay, and then Acerola cherry is more commonly known to us, especially for those existing users for Neutralite. We all know that a lot of our product we have this Acerola cherry extract inside because it helps to the body to build the immune system. But when we talk about airway health, it actually helps the body to recuperate much faster after exposure to the infection. So especially for infection that happening in our airway system, we need to the body need to react to this infection very fast. So you need to have a very strong vitamin C and also this antioxidant content in our body to get ready all time for all this kind of infection. So the next question, why this product? Okay. First, before I go into the detail of all things that I mentioned here, first is of course is a patented, okay, is a patented combination. Okay, all these three material combined in one product, we cannot find elsewhere in the market because it's from our own Neutralite research team findings. Okay, so the first product, is it commonly we can get? Okay, for Malaysia at least, this is commonly used in a traditional medicine. So for Chinese community, normally we will use it in certain of our herb soup. So normally for Chinese family, you go, if they cook herbal soup, sometimes they'll put this kind, they'll put licorice. Okay, I'm not so sure about Indian and also Malay family. Probably you guys can type in the chat box. Do you guys eat this often? And maybe the first question should be, do you know what is this? Okay, so I think for at least I know for Chinese family is we are more commonly exposed to this kind of herbs. But again, if you cook it in the soup, right, how much is the extraction will come out into the soup? Okay, we have no idea how many milligram, all that we got no idea as well. Okay, and then second, Acerola cherry, is it something that we can commonly get from our diet? Okay, the answer should be no lah. Okay, because it's rarely found in the Malaysian market. Okay, don't confuse it with the cherry that we saw in the Jaya Grocer or saw in the Eon. That is a different type of cherry. Okay, it's a different species. Okay, this is a Acerola cherry, which is more common in the Western Hemisphere, especially in the like Mexico, in the tropical area in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, so if Malaysia have it, normally it's those already frozen. I don't think they will pack freshly and market in Malaysia. So far, I don't see. So it's one of the fruits with the highest concentration with vitamin C in the world. Okay, so that's the why Nutrilite choose this. Okay, for the economy of scale and at the same time for the efficiency of it. And number three, which is one of the very important hero product in this hero ingredient in this product, which is turmeric. So when we ask about turmeric, I think Malaysian community, we are more commonly exposed to this because it's widely used in the traditional herbs and spice used in cooking. So this one I can proudly say, no matter Malay, Indian or Chinese, right, we will know about this turmeric. Okay, in Malay it's called kunyit, okay, but there's a but. Okay, so but then when we use it for cooking, right, same like licorice, we don't know how much of the utilization. Okay, probably some people will say, oh, okay, if let's say turmeric, then it's fine because I always eat turmeric, I always cook curry, all that. So inside curry powder, they got certain portion of turmeric as well to make the color yellowish and orange, all that, and of course for the health content that they have inside. So today we need to learn something new, which is one of the active ingredient in active compound inside this turmeric is the curcumin. Curcumin is the thing that important for airway health. And this curcumin, unfortunately, is a low bioavailability to the body. Okay, that means today if you have a turmeric, the raw one, you just chew and you eat the whole thing, probably your absorption is very little only because the this bioavailability rate is very low. So what makes this product different is that we have this technology which we call microencapsulation. Okay, so this microencapsulation technology actually enable our body to increase the absorption rate. Okay, and at the same time, you need to know the curcumin that we use in this product is already the extracted curcumin. Okay, we are not like taking the turmeric and then chop and then blend it into powder or what and then make it into this product. No. Okay, after they do that process, they even do the extraction just on the curcumin. So the concentration is higher, the absorption rate is also higher. Okay, I don't know how many piece of turmeric we need to eat if let's say we eat the raw one. Okay, so you actually increase the health benefits by 10 times. So there's a research being done for those intake the curcumin with the microencapsulation technology and without, okay, the technology. Okay, you can see very big difference. Okay, 10 times. So with the technology also, right, because it's so concentrated and is so efficiently used by the body already, it also increased our antioxidant activity by 70%. Okay, so a lot of people, they just don't understand the importance of the why this product is so valuable. Okay, and actually during now and from the past month until now, we have this promotion. Okay, whenever you get two Nutrilite product that being listed there, you get this turmeric 50%. So and it can be enjoyed by your whole family. Okay, and is really worth the value because whatever you get is come with all this technology and this proven ingredient and content. Okay, so I want to talk about something which is quite boring, but I think it's very important also for us to know, especially if today we keep saying that this product is good, but it is not justified. Then you will feel that, oh, you are Amway distributor, definitely you'll say that this product is good. So I just want to share with you what makes this product significant and different is also a research paper, an official research paper come out with the Nutrilite team. So you can see this is a title of the research, combination of vitamin C, curcumin, and also this glyceric acid, which is from the licorice, potentially can regulate the immune system and inflammatory response. Okay, and you can see the team involved is a collaboration between the China Nutrilite research team. You can see from Shanghai, China, and then we also have our California team involved, because California is the institute of our health, optimal health, and then also Nutrilite Health from Ada, Michigan. Okay, so and it's published and is also checked for updates. Okay, so it's a very long research paper. Like there are 17 pages. So I just want to summarize some of the important points mentioned in this research paper, which I think important for us to know also. Okay, so first, the short form CC stands for curcumin. Okay, so it says that this curcumin actually increase the survival rate and also improvement of our pulmonary histopathological change. Okay, why this is important? Because they are using this curcumin extract to test on the infected mice. Okay, that means there's a lab test using the mice, and actually those infected with the influenza, they have a higher survival rate if there's a curcumin extract exists in the body. So as we all know, influenza and also SARS, all this, they also impact our respiratory system. Okay, so if let's say we compare to the COVID situation, definitely it will pose a health benefit as well. So second, vitamin C also actually help the production of this active enzyme in our body lah. So this active enzyme actually, when it's activated, is an antiviral immune response. Okay, so there are people also say that all this not true, no such thing or what, but there's already a lot of research paper out there saying that vitamin C definitely will help our immune system, and when our immune system is being regulated optimally, it will help us fight better on this infection. Okay, remarkably increase the survival rate also. Okay, for the mice infected with this same thing, influenza. Okay, so next is this glyceric acid. GA stands for the glyceric acid. It improves the production and also the ameliorates the immune function. Okay, so same thing. It also encourages the production of this enzyme in our body, and then it actually helps to improve our immune function also. So when these three things combine, right, we call it vitamin C, curcumin, and also this glyceric acid. Okay, I always have difficulty in pronouncing this. Okay, so when these three things combines, right, it actually overall it will help regulate the immune response against the invading virus. Okay, and it also help to regulate these two things, not like and also toll-like. This is actually our immune system, what we call as a T cell. Okay, and receptor signaling the pathway and promote the production of IFN. And we know this IFN thing is so important because just now we already mentioned in the previous lab test, the IFN, if let's say increase, it will actually help to have a better survival rate, and also it helps to regulate our immune system better. Okay, so these are a few important points, and in the research paper, I also find one very good extract. Okay, which actually it also summarized that this VCG can positively regulate our T cell. Okay, T cell is very important in our immune system to produce the antibody one. Okay, so vitamin C also positively influence our lymphocyte. Okay, lymphocyte is also an army in our immune system, and it's also enhanced this T cell dysfunction, proliferation, and also T cell function. And curcumin, okay, you can see here it also mentioned curcumin also regulate this T cell and these two enzymes and convert them into this thing that actually prevent the tumor growth. Okay, so this tumor properly nothing to do with COVID or anything, just an extra benefit, but also it helps to subset the process anti-inflammatory and anti-autoimmune effects. So up to this point, right, we all should already know the reason why COVID can become serious and people need to go into ICU is because the overly reaction of our immune system. Okay, immune system is to protect us, but when it's over, right, too much of inflammation, too much of mucus being emitted, too much of this autoimmune effect, right, it will become worse. Okay, you will actually put that person into a severe condition because our airway system, our lung is not supposed to be flooded with mucus. So actually with this CC curcumin, it actually help to regulate and also provide, okay, a balance to this anti-inflammatory and anti-autoimmune effects. Okay, so it's still allowed, but it allows at the balance and a regulated mode. Okay, and this GA is actually show a anti-allergic effect. Okay, so which is good for that means because if let's say when you have already a collection or accumulation of mucus there, we know that they will have more infection, especially you breathe in bacteria there, and then bacteria finds it easy to spread in a very moist area, and then especially it's clogged there already, the mucus. Okay, so if we also need something to this anti-allergic, antiviral, okay, and at the same time, a production of virus-specific antibodies to compete with this COVID infection. Okay, so this is the why licorice is being used in this product. And simultaneously, it also regulate, please pardon me, I don't go through all these terms because to me, I am not the expert. I just try to summarize things that we can understand. Okay, and then to prevent the autoimmune and also excessive inflammation. The keyword here is excessive inflammation. When excessive inflammation happens, right, it actually trigger that mucus thing, and then we feel suffocated and fibrosis happen. Okay, so when it prevents the excessive reaction from our body, because the virus is already inside our body, already attacked, so there's no point for us to keep producing the mucus anymore, although that mechanism is actually to protect us as a human. But too bad our body is not intelligent until that state that actually it should stop at a certain point. It will keep producing as a result of that inflammation. So actually this combination of the ingredient actually help us to regulate it at a better rate. Okay, especially in the later stage of the infection also. So it mentioned here. Okay, so this is basically about this product, and I don't know how many of us we know detail about this product, and whether it's just a marketing product just to let people buy or what. But to me, if you understand all this research, you understand the reason behind this product being came out, then we know it's important for us to have this. At least for every family, we should have this, and because it's so easy to drink. Later I'll show you also. Okay, so the last part of the airway system, I talk about the protection part, right? If you remember just now, I said protection through HEPA filtration, and it has been advocated in FDA also. Okay, not FDA. I mean in America, the I forgot the name. The COVID, there's a response team, right? They also encourage the community in the US to have every household to have this air filter. Okay, but for Malaysia, we also advocate this. Just that it's not widely educated. Okay, and I do see it comes out in the news, encourage the public to have a good air filter in their home. So I believe this will definitely become more and more common things, okay, in the future, and especially now is a good time for us to invest in a good one. Okay, and the logic of having a good air treatment system, right? Now I think we all can relate very well already. Once we understand the airway system, we know that the threats come in through our nose, and then even not to say COVID, even irritants or allergens when it comes into our airway system, how actually we will sneeze, how we actually exposed to dust, we will actually have a running nose, we have flu, all that. Okay, it's clearer to us already. So now I just need to ask you all a very common sense question. If let's say today our environment is cleaner, okay, is clean, will this reaction still come? Okay, a lot of time we thought that is is because of genetic. Okay, a lot of people will assume that it's genetic. They say, oh, my father used to like that. Okay, always running nose. So now the kids also like that. Okay, it's not entirely true. Okay, a lot of time is the living environment. Okay, because the father and the son is living in the same environment all this while. That's why both of them might have this problem. If let's say their membranes, their nasal membrane react the same to all these allergen, to all these triggers. So if let's say we can reduce all these trigger and allergen in the environment, a unit that can effectively make sure your air is clean, right? Definitely it will help one, definitely. Okay, because it's a science. Okay, because when we understand how the nasal system works, how the airway system works, right, we already know what trigger that. Of course, those that I share is not everything, but I would say majority. Okay, majority of the reason is because of those. So if let's say it can be tackled and it can be filtered by this machine, right? And this machine actually act as the external lung in our environment. So if you can spend a little bit of investment to have an extra lung to do the work for us, right? We will be less exposed to this infection. And at the same time, in the long run, we will be less exposed to all these allergens that will trigger this unnecessary mechanism in our body. Your body don't have to always tell you, oh, I need to protect you already, because another unknown thing come into your airway. Okay, another unknown thing come in. Okay, you sneeze again, another unknown thing come in, you flu again for another 3 or 4 days, and then after 1 month come again, sick again. Okay, so I'm not sure how long we want to put our health and our immune system in such long term of compromise. Okay, if today just one off investment can solve this problem, right, why not? Okay, and this investment actually we can spread it across 12 months. It's zero interest. Okay, definitely is affordable by everyone. Okay, it's not like a sky high price. Okay, so just the matter of whether we treat this as an important things. Because if let's say it's household, we're going to stay at that home, at that house for a long term for sure. And it's good to have one more pair of lung, because we cannot take the risk of letting all these things and infect our lungs, right? Because you only have one pair. And we know the seriousness of it. If let's say it's being clogged, it's being drowned at the alveoli level, there's nothing much we can do already, other than to seek the medical attention. Okay, so today, if let's say we can recap, right, things that we can do, please do. Okay, SOP, immune system, okay, the airway health, and also extra protection. Okay, so with that, I would like to end my sharing tonight on this